Usually I'm known for discussing things you missed in horror movies. However, in this movie, there aren't really any. So instead, let's talk about these buffoons and the things that they missed in trying to pull off this heist in the new movie, Breaking In. This is Things You Missed. So this movie is about this mother named Sean Russell who goes to her dad's house after he passes away. Actually, he's killed. To basically get it ready to be put in the real estate market and sold. But then it turns out that her dad's assistant leaked some information to some 41 over here, and these 4 guys are trying to break into the safe that's apparently in the house. Where did he get all this money? No idea. All we know is that he's got a lot of nice watches and he's being investigated by the district attorney. Also, we don't know why he's storing his money at his cabin in Wisconsin when he lives in Chicago. But he's not the one I'm analyzing here. It's these clowns. So when the Russell family first arrives, they trigger the alarm. In other words, they got there first. It amazes me that not one of the 4 bad guys rolls up and notices there's already a car parked outside. The house isn't even for sale yet. They would potentially have so many other opportunities to try to come back when nobody's home. But they don't. They just decide to kidnap everyone and do it anyways. Now, at least at this point, if they decide they can't wait, they've got to have the money now, they could at least be prepared about it. No gloves to conceal their fingerprints, nothing to cover up their DNA, and no masks. One of the reasons the bad guys can't just let the family go later on is the family's already seen their faces. So even if they didn't have masks, just using a towel to blindfold the kids would have made things so much easier. Come on, guys. Once they're in, they lock the kids in a room with no doorknob. Apparently this is supposed to make it impossible to escape. They also had zip ties with them, which obviously are pretty easy to cut through anyways, but they decide not to use these on the kids until later on for some reason. They don't know where the safe is or what the combination is, and they're basically relying on this guy, Pete, to crack the safe for them. But Pete gets beat up by Sean. Twice. The main bad guy, Eddie, sets up in the security control room and tracks what's going on around the house using a motion sensor feature. Sean is able to use a drone to trick him into coming out of the control room, and she sneaks through the dark into said control room and shuts it down. I will say, that's a pretty good plan on her part, but Eddie should have realized that it wasn't her being tracked on the sensors, because as he moved through the house, he wasn't tracked by them either. This allows Sean to meet up with the daughter and tell her what to do. Later, Eddie is searching around for them in the master bathroom, and he finds this little piece of fuzz, like from a towel or something. It's maybe the funniest part of the movie for me. It's like, what does this prove? That someone lived here at one time? I just imagine the gears turning in his head. Oh, a little piece of fuzz. They must have been in here. And then, meanwhile, this bad guy, I'm just gonna call him El Loco, wants to just kill the kids and the mom and be done with it. But the other guys don't want to go that far and keep making excuses as to why the kids need to stay alive. So fast forward to this scene. Sean has the dude that they need to open the safe for them. She's willing to make an exchange, and she just wants her kids in return. She clearly doesn't care that much about the money. So it actually makes sense for Eddie to make this deal with her. And what does he do? He shoots his own guy. After all this talk about how they don't need to kill people, he kills his own guy. Turns out that the guy was hiding this little flash drive thing in the necklace that they could just plug into the security system and open the safe for them. So Eddie wanting to get that drive, I understand. But then I feel like that raises even more questions. Like, why bring this 4th person on the job at all? If all you needed was the chip, then why not just buy that off the black market or whatever, and then you only have to split the jackpot 3 ways instead of 4. And then after that, he still won't kill the kids until pretty much the end of the movie when he decides to burn the house down. He tells his goons that the police will see it as just another family tragedy, whatever that means. I'm sure they'll just roll up to the house in complete rubble except for the safe, which is open and empty, and the cop will just turn to his partner and say, "Well, Dan, looks like it's just another family tragedy. Roll the outro music." Maybe the smartest thing that any of them actually do is when Sum 41 hears the house creak and he's able to deduce that Sean is now on the roof. Instead of sending one person to deal with it, like, I don't know, the guy with the gun, they end up sending 2 other goons onto the roof to confront her. So they corner her and tell her there's nowhere to go. Now, what she should have done right here was said, "Nowhere but down," and then done a cannonball into the skylight that was right there. But she didn't do that, and instead, El Loco tries to get Sum 41 to kill her for like 10 minutes. But Sum 41 doesn't want to kill people. And I don't get why El Loco doesn't just kill her himself. He's clearly fine with it. He already killed the real estate agent. He has a knife. Another note on the whole not wanting to kill thing, they've already conspired to kill Sean's dad at the very beginning of the movie. They're already criminals at this point. I don't see why they're more hesitant now. The license plate of the car that hits her dad in the opening scene is from Iowa. The dad dies in Illinois and the movie takes place in Wisconsin. So chances are, if they go back to Iowa, they're probably not gonna get caught. I mean, come on. But anyway, Sean eventually does get the kids and makes it to the car, and then the car won't start for some reason. There was a line earlier on when Eddie was talking to the real estate agent, trying to convince her that Sean wasn't there, where he says that her car was having trouble, so she took his into town instead. It's almost like him saying that magically made it true, because then the car just dies for no reason. This freaking movie, dude. Again, Eddie could just take the money at this point and leave, but he's got to go after the family, and then the family gets back into the house safely, and this would maybe be a good time for Eddie to just give up and try another house or some other time or something, but he decides to stick around and essentially lucks out because Sean's husband comes up and Sean's got to open the door so that Eddie doesn't kill her husband. So this is what she comes up with. She douses the money in gasoline and holds a lighter above it. So if he tries to harm the family or shoot her, the lighter falls into the money and burns it all up. That's where Eddie makes one more mistake. He really needed to cement his position as dumbest idiot, I guess, and he gives up the gun. He could have just waited her out though. The flame on a lighter won't last forever. He could have just waited for it to go out before shooting her. Some other stuff happens after that, but it's not important. And then after a long, awkward pause of black, like a clickbait YouTuber trying to get to 10 minutes, it just ends. Movie over. Let me know what you thought of this kind of video. Did you like it? Should I stick to the traditional things you missed? And I think my next video will be the one where I do the dares from my Truth or Dare video. So last chance to go over there and vote in the comments on which ones you want to see me do. But first, make sure you're subscribed to CZsWorld for new horrors every week. Ring that death bell for notifications, and I'll see you in the next one. Assuming we both survive.